There's a really fascinating case involving a 17-year-old Connecticut girl who had Hodgkin's lymphoma and did not want to undergo chemotherapy. In fact, this girl, who was only identified as Cassandra C., decided that after going to 2 treatments of chemotherapy, she no longer wanted to do it. But the state actually got involved and forced her to do it. Now, according to reports, the department gained temporary custody of the 17-year-old, identified only as Cassandra C. in court documents, after she and her mother, Jackie Fortin, fought for her right to discontinue treatment despite the risk of dying. Okay, so the girl was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in September. After surgery failed to rid her of the cancer, she underwent 2 rounds of chemotherapy before asking the treatments to be stopped. She actually ran away from home to avoid further treatment. So again, her mother was backing her up. She's not an 8-year-old, she's not a 10-year-old, she's a 17-year-old. But the state didn't care. They decided that they would force her to get chemotherapy. Now, there is an upside to the state forcing her to get the chemo. She would have most certainly died within 2 years if she hadn't done it. But now that she has undergone the treatment, she is in remission. So she's expected to survive. So
I think this is not that easy a story.
It's not an easy story.
Right. Usually it's a lot easier to say, okay, this should have happened or that should have happened. There's good case to be made here. So let me start with this way. Number one, I want to be clear that I'm not in the camp of you can wish cancer away. You know, some people earnestly believe that. I love them. I want to help them. One way that I would help them is to strap them down and do chemotherapy on them. Because if you try to go and wish the cancer away, you will very likely die. Okay? Do you think you're smarter than Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs partly did that for a little while, and then his cancer got much worse and might have cost him his life. Okay, doesn't really work. Okay, I hate to break it to you. So, on the other hand, somebody has free will and they decide they don't want treatment. It's not our business to interfere.
Right.
On the other hand, she's a minor. On the other hand, she's 17. That's not much of a minor, right?
Yeah.
So if she's 3, she's 8, she's 12, we're not having these conversations. So my ruling on this is that, look, I think that 16 should be the age for adulthood. Okay, I've maintained that position in every regard, right? And I maintain it in this regard. I think a 17-year-old can make her own decisions about her life. I think she should have been allowed to make this one, okay? If she was 16 or younger, I'd have strapped her in without hesitating, without blinking, right? Now, but that's not the rule in her state. 18 is an adult, and she wasn't an adult. So by the rules of her state, I think they were right to do what they did.
Yeah, I think that they were right to do what they did as well, even though I kind of cringe at saying that. And the reason why I cringe is because 17 is just so close to being a legal adult in the state. And I'm one of those people who believes that you have a right to die, right? So if you have a terminal illness and you want doctor-assisted suicide, I think that that should be legal, right? If you want to refuse treatment for your disease or your cancer, whatever it is that you have, I think you should be able to do that as soon as you're an adult. But unfortunately, since she wasn't considered an adult, I think the state did the right thing. And I'm happy she's alive. I'm happy the cancer is in remission. And I can imagine what she went through. Chemo is disastrous. It's a horrible thing to have to go through. Of course, it saves lives, but at the same time, you go through quite a bit. Your body goes through quite a bit. And so she was probably scared, right? And she didn't want to go through it anymore. And you need a mature adult to get involved and kind of push you into the right direction. And I think that's what they did here.
Well, look, no matter what she thought at the time, they did save her life. So, you know, in hindsight, that issue becomes a little easier. I'd send them a thank you note.